to Biology Greenhouse. My name is Jennifer Smith. I'm the greenhouse manager here. I'm going to take you on a little tour. So let's go. Here in the hallway is what we call the cooling center of the greenhouse. If you look around, you'll see the wet pad system, which is simply water that runs across what looks like a cardboard wall. And as the air comes through, that's what cools the plants through the greenhouse. This is our positive and negative airflow pressure through the greenhouse. This is one of our teaching rooms, and here we do a lot of the non-majors classes as well as the major classes. So we have environmental problems, we have 1401, which they're doing a plant propagation lab. So if we look around, we can see what some of the students are doing. So these are just stem or leaf cuttings, sometimes division cuttings, so they'll grow new roots and they'll get to take them home and have their own personal plant. Welcome to the jungle room. This is one of my favorite rooms in the greenhouse. Let's have a look around and see what plants we have around here. The first one we can see is a coffee plant, which is next door to our palm tree. This is a split leaf philodendron. It looks a lot like the elephant ear, but see, the splits are what, if it was in the rainforest and raining, that's what keeps the rain from pulling down the leaves. We have a few ferns, and what's really interesting about ferns is their spores. So if you turn the leaves over, all these little brown things are the spores and how they repopulate. Here in the back we have one of our meaner plants in the greenhouse. It's got an irritant and it's sap, so when you touch it, it burns for a good hour, hour and a half. Now don't try this at home, but I'll pull it down and you can look at it. As you can see, there's thorns all over the leaves, on the stems, and even on the flowers. All right, here in the back, we have our orchid table. Usually they bloom here in the winter, so around December you can come in, it'll be a whole different environment. But the one I'd like to highlight is our vanilla orchid. It's a vine and it'll bloom in the summer. So those of you that are familiar with the vanilla bean, vanilla ice cream, it comes from a plant which is an orchid. So we can hand pollinate those orchids to get the vanilla beans and use them for cooking confections. So here behind me we have one of our ginger plants, and then a very interesting plant next door is a bromeliad. So the pink part is the flower, but what's interesting is it has very serrated edges, so it's one you don't want to brush up against if you have shorts on. Of what we do here in the greenhouse is research. Mostly cotton, but if you get to look around, you'll get to see some tobacco, corn, sorghum, things like that we do. Primarily, my focus here for the cotton is to work on drought, heat, and salt tolerance. So these shorter plants have been under salt and drought stress. The part we're looking at is the boll. Here, this boll is what opens up to produce the cotton. Cotton is very important here on the high plains, but not just for the high plains, but worldwide also. If you come over to this plant, this is one of my irrigated plants, and this is going to show you when those bolls start to open, what the cotton looks like. So as we walk through the cotton here, you can see how we have the drought and salt side versus the irrigated side. From here, the cotton projects go into the field where we can further test them to see if the genes we've overexpressed in them work for what we're trying to accomplish for drought, heat, and salt. Some of the plants we have in here are used for outreach programs. So this is our coleus, this is a jade. And our outreach program is HHMI, which is the Howard Hughes Medical Institute. And this is a traveling lab program where they take these plants to high school students to show them a little bit about plants and what we do here at Texas Tech. This is another teaching room, and in here I have an orchid that blooms for me all year long. Next door to that plant, we have the Cuban oregano. If you touch it, it's soft and fuzzy, and if you smell it, it's very fragrant. Welcome to the head house of the greenhouse. This is where we pot up all the plants, store our soil. We also have a few pet plants. So this one behind me is our tricolor ginger, and then next to me you'll see a coconut palm. That's my favorite part of being the greenhouse manager, is when I travel, I get to bring home pet plants. So from Hawaii, I brought home our coconut tree. That concludes our tour for today. Thank you.